Hi, this is Pete with Culinaria Cooking School. Today we're going to do a little bit of pizza. Everybody's favorite. The dough is pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and start mixing this up, and then we're going to come back and we'll make our sauce, and then we'll show you how to roll out the pizza and cook it. So for our dough, I'm doing a half recipe to demonstrate. I have 2 cups of flour, half a tablespoon of salt in a bowl here. I've got 3/4 of a cup of water, and I'm going to add half a tablespoon of honey and a teaspoon, or a half teaspoon, of yeast. And the honey will give the yeast something to feed on while it's proofing. So this is a dough that I usually let rise 24 hours in the refrigerator, and but if you can't wait, it's okay. Put it into a warm place in a covered bowl and let it double in size, and then you can start working. So here is our yeast, and we're just going to let that sit and bloom just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add my flour and salt into our mixer here. This is double O flour from Italy. If you can't find double O, you can use bread flour, you can use all-purpose flour. It doesn't really matter. The texture will change, but the taste will still be good. So, get this out of our way. So I need probably a couple of minutes for this to start to bloom. You want to see it bubbling or starting to foam before you add it to your dough or your dry ingredients. All right, so our yeast is starting to bubble or foam. So I'm going to turn my mixer on slow, and we're going to go ahead and add our yeast and honey mixture and water into our dry ingredients. As this mixes up, we'll come back and show you, but as this mixes up, you may need to add a little bit of water. Just depends on how dry the flour is, and we'll see how we go. So this will start to clump together, and will look a little bit like wet rags as it starts to combine. I'm looking at this already, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to need another maybe tablespoon of water. Hopefully that will do. So it's starting to pull together. Maybe just a touch more water. And let me stop and show you what this looks like here. So this is what it looks like when it starts to come together. And we'll mix this up for 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. All right, so we're going to start on our sauce, but in the meantime, just wanted to say cheers, have a glass of wine, enjoy, make this with your family. It's just a great experience to make. So I've got a pan here. I'm going to turn this on about a medium, and we're going to add some olive oil. This sauce is really simple. If you don't use it all up for pizza, you can always use this on pasta. It's just a very quick, simple sauce. I have a bay leaf, clove of garlic, And we have some San Marzano tomatoes. If you can't find San Marzanos, you can use crushed tomatoes. I just usually whiz them up using a immersion blender. So as this heats up, I'll add my garlic. And salt was here. Just waiting for this to coat the back of the pan here. And I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic and the bay leaf, and I'm just going to tip this forward a little bit to fry the garlic and the bay leaf. We're going to infuse the flavors into the oil. In Italy, it's not about having a ton of garlic, it's about having it flavor. So we're just going to basically fry the garlic until it's golden brown, and it's infused all of its flavor into our olive oil. So in the meantime, I have our San Marzanos, which are whole peeled, and I'm going to go ahead and add our whizzer here. And we're just going to make this into a nice sauce. San Marzano's best tasting tomato. Alright, so we're there. Check our garlic and we turn it over and see how it's doing here. Nope, not quite there. So this is really basically deep frying everything. You can see into our pan here. And once this is lightly brown, we'll add in our tomato, and we're going to let that cook for about 15 minutes. That's all you need. We'll add a little bit of salt, pepper. You could add some crushed red pepper if you like. If you like a little spicier tomato sauce. Alright, so we're pretty close here. The garlic is nice and golden brown on one side. I'll give it another 30 seconds and we should be good. And I'll show you what this looks like. So there's our little garlic, nice and brown. We're going to go ahead and add this back to our oil here and add our tomatoes. Turn down our sauce a little bit. And we'll add a nice pinch of salt. And a little bit of fresh basil. This will give the sauce a really nice flavor of the basil. And when we make our pizza, when it comes out, we'll add a little bit of our fresh basil on top. So a little stir. And then we're just going to bring this up to a simmer and let it cook for about 15 minutes. So that's our sauce there. Okay, so yesterday I made a half recipe. We've got enough to make 2 pizzas here. We have our oven set at the highest setting it'll go, which for us is 525. We've had a pizza stone in there the whole time it's been preheating, which is really important to get that stone really hot. I've got a little bit of flour here, a little bit of cornmeal, and after 24 hours, I take the dough out, divide it into two, because I did a half recipe. And then I place it onto a sheet tray with a little bit of plastic and let it rise again at 90 degrees. If your oven doesn't go that low, simply do the same thing, turn your oven light on, close the door, and give it about an hour, and you'll see it becomes very soft and very pliable. So to make our pizza here, I'm going to take a little bit of our flour here, and I'll pull out one of our doughs here and get this on a little bit of flour, and we're going to start working in a circular motion. Now, there's a ton of different ways to make pizza. There are some people really like the big chewy crust end. I like a nice thin pizza, like so. And I'm going to take a rolling pin, and I'm just going to roll this out into a nice round pie. If it doesn't turn out completely round, it's all right. You know it's been handmade. So you can also pick up your dough and help stretch it with your hands. Now, to make the middle a little thinner. And you just put your hands together like this, drape your dough over, and just pull. So our sauce has been cooking for about 15 minutes, and it smells wonderful. But I always like to do a little test, make sure it tastes good, doesn't need any additional seasoning. Beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and turn our dough off. And I've got a pizza peel here, which makes life a lot easier. If you don't have a pizza peel, you can use a sheet tray or a cookie tray, turn it upside down, much like so. And you can put a little bit of cornmeal on here, put your pizza on, and then use this to slide it into the oven. Pizza peel is a lot easier. If you don't have that and all you have is a round pizza pan, you can do that too. So I'm going to take a little bit of our cornmeal, and this is to make sure that the pizza slides off easy. So the first thing I'll do is add my dough to our peel, and then I want to make sure that give it a little shake and make sure that it slides. And if it's not perfectly round, you can persuade it. Let me get a ladle here. Take our sauce. And the whole thing about pizza is not having too much sauce. You want to have a nice covering, and I just use the back of the ladle to spread it out. And I want to get it close to the edge without going over. Maybe just a touch more. And then I want to double check. Yep, it still shakes on there. So then I'm going to take some of our fresh mozzarella and spread this around. Now, if you're making an Italian style pizza, you want to be able to see all the colors. You want to see the red, you want to see the white, and then we add the basil at the end. You want to be able to see all of the three colors that make up the Italian flag. So, all right. At this point, you could add whatever toppings you like. So I've got a nice cover of cheese. Give it a little shake. Everything is good. And I'm going to slide this into our oven. Like so. So this will take probably about 6 or 8 minutes. And then what we'll do is take it off the bottom rack of the stone, and I'll put it onto the next to the highest rack on top to brown the top just a little bit. So in a couple of minutes, we'll be back and we'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. So after 30 minutes in the mixer, your dough will come out looking like this. Should be soft, not sticky, easily pliable. So I'll take now and place this into a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, drizzle on top, and around the bowl so it keeps the dough from sticking to the bowl. Like so. So we got our nice oiled up dough, and then I'll take a piece of plastic, cover that nice and tight, and then I'll place this in the refrigerator for 24 hours. And when it's done, as I had said earlier, you want to take it out, cut it into half, place it onto a sheet tray, cover it with the same plastic, and then let it rise again in a warm oven, such as 90 degrees or with just your oven light on. It makes a difference. So I'm just going to do a little check. I can see it's not quite there, but I just take my peel and I just lift it up and look. And I need just a little bit more brown. So in the meantime, I'll take a little bit of our basil here, and we'll do a chiffonade of basil. And spread this on top. So I really like that fresh basil. If you saw Stefan's video earlier, when it's hot, it just, the flavor just comes right up and you're like, wow. So I just stack these up and get all the stems facing forward. I don't know, it's pretty hard to have too much basil. And I'm looking for my knife. Ah, here it is. And again, just as Stefan had done, trim off the stem ends and then just do a nice thin cut of the rolled up basil. And at this point, I know I'm ready. I'm going to move the pizza from the bottom and place it on top for just a minute or so. I can see there's a nice brown crust forming on the bottom. When I look at it, I'm like, I've got some nice blisters. And up on top, just to brown the cheese for a little bit. That'll probably take about a minute. And then we'll place it out onto our cutting board. And we'll slice it up. And we'll try a piece. Just keep an eye on your pizza while it's on that top part because you don't want it to burn. All right, let me pull the pizza out. We should be ready. Yeah, looks great. Here's our pizza fresh out of the oven. And we'll add our basil on top. And then you can see all of the colors of the Italian flag. And we'll add just a little drizzle of olive oil. You can hear it's nice and crisp on the bottom, but it's still soft on the inside. All right, there's our pizza. I want to bring my business partner in to join in with a a piece of pizza here. And so it's nice and hot so we can burn our mouth. Stephen, my business partner I've worked with for 20 some years. Slice of pie for you, my friend.
Thank you.
Slice of pie for
Salute.
me. Salute. Here's to you guys. Hope you make this at home. It's really easy. It's a great way to bring the family together. And you can burn the roof of your mouth when it comes right out of the oven. So
Best pizza in town.
here's to you guys. Thanks for all you've supported us at Culinaria. We really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Take care.